Hey guys, now if you're looking for a bike that has a super comfortable ride, has a range of 60 to 80 miles, has a rear rack that's going to be able to support carrying groceries or any kind of goods, well, you're going to want to watch this video because today we're taking a look at the Cyclone. This is a bike from Lacros and it has great features. It has an easy mount system, so getting on and off this bike is super easy, and it has great suspension. So we're going to go ahead and check out the specs. We're going to take a closer look at the bike. We're going to go on a ride, and you're going to see why this may be your next bike. Now, the Cyclone has great specs, and you heard that right at the very beginning, 60 to 80 mile range. Some things are going to make the difference between how far you're going to get, how much do you contribute in power, as well as also what pedal assist mode you're going to take. Needless to say, 60 to 80 miles is great. It does have a 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery, and it can carry up to 350 pounds. That is significant, hence why you have that great rack in the back that allows you to carry groceries and other items with it. Now, it has 750 watts of power, so it means that it's going to help you carry things, or let's say carry yourself, with ease. It does have a rear shock absorber, and the shock absorber is placed in a very unique place. I've had shock absorbers like in the back of the saddle. This one happens to be in the front, and we're going to see how well this actually supports my riding experience when we do the ride test. So I find that that's pretty interesting. Now, it does also have 20-inch all-terrain tires, and I am a Fat Boy tire fan because I love the way it just hugs the streets, even the, let's say the mud, the dirt, the rock, sand as well, because of the treads and how thick the tires are. Now, this bike, because it has mud, I would say maintenance-free mud guards, they're made out of a polycarbonate-like material, means that you're not gonna have to worry about rust or getting dirt if you get caught in the rain, or let's say you get caught in the mud. It does have a front-facing headlight, which is super bright, and you're going to see that in a couple seconds. It also has rear markers, right, that basically light up really well. Hydraulic brakes, front and back, and also the front fork is also hydraulic, no joke. So you have a really good hydraulic system, and my preference is, to have a hydraulic system. Now, it does, as I mentioned, have a real nice rear rack that you can use it to tie down things. If you want to have a rear satchel in the back or just tie down a basket, that's going to work really well. And it's going to support riders anywhere from 5 to 6 feet. So this is what you're talking about from a body perspective. And you don't have to worry also if you do get caught in the rain or anything like that. It has a great IP rating. You're not going to have to worry about being concerned about the bike getting wet. Now, it's not intended to be ridden in the water, but it is going to be something that will support some splashes and things that may be coming down. And even when you do your charging, you'll notice that there is a waterproof plug that actually plugs up all the electronics really nicely. Needless to say, this does have a removable battery like you would expect most bikes do, and it does have a display that is bright. It's bright and it's large. It's the characters on it are very large. It's really easy to read and see. So you're going to be able to check out this bike in a second. I just got to say that so far I really enjoy the experience. And one last thing I wanted to mention is that this bike does have a 7-speed Shimano system. So really nice thumb throttle, or actually twist throttle within the gear system really close by it, which makes it really easy to control. And what I like about this bike, and I'll just give you a hint before we actually go on to the ride experience, is I like the fact that I'm not leaning too forward when I'm riding it. So I've had some bikes that have this kind of design, but what you end up doing is you end up leaning forward more, and it's not as enjoyable as a ride, or not at long-term enjoyable. It's great when you're using it, but then I just don't like that. This one allows you to sit back. It allows you to have has a very long, I would say, fork in front that really keeps things up high for me. So let's go ahead and check it out, and you'll see why I like this bike so much. All right, guys, so let's take a closer look at the Lacros Cyclone. And as you can see, first of all, this bike has some really great beefy tires. And you can see I've just unboxed this. So I still have the plastic in the tires, but I just wanted to show you how it came once you assembled it. Love the fact that it has the protective plastic on the treads there. But as you can see, it has some beefy tires. We're talking about 20-inch all-terrain tires that have a very good grippy thread, and we're going to see how well this bike performs once we hit the trails this week. In addition to that, you'll see that it has a seven gear Shimano system there, so you can see that in that area there. And then as we move forward, you're going to notice that in addition to having a great tire system as well as a gear system, it has a suspension system that I think is pretty amazing. Check this out. Now, you don't see many bikes that have a rear suspension system that looks like this. So notice that it has a shock absorber system here that basically is going to give you a really great ride. And once we do the recording of the ride experience, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. I have reviewed other bikes that have the shock in the back, and I can tell you from experience, having it placed here gives you a great experience when it comes to riding. I'm going to see what the difference is between having the mounted shock in the front versus in the back here. The other thing we can look at, and we'll go ahead and pan over here closely just for a second, we have this rack in the back that's going to allow you to carry things with you. A bag, groceries, whatever this is. And because this is one of those bikes that it's easy on, easy off because it doesn't have the high bar, this is a great cargo bike too. I would put it in that category if you want to use this to go to the store, carry something here in the back. Definitely going to be able to do that. As you can see here, the pedal system is pretty straightforward. This, because it's not a folding bike, does not have collapsible pedals, right? But the pedals are strong. They have some grip to them, as you can see here on the sides. And when you get them, they are labeled left and right, which makes it really easy to distinguish and also put them on. Again, the cable system is discreet. It does have a protective area right here, so you don't have to worry about as you're pedaling really crashing with this because it's protected. And all in all, I think that the actual profile that you see right here is also really nice. Now, as we look at the seat, you're going to notice that it has adjustment as well. Now, the saddle for this bike is pretty wide, it is comfortable, and it also has a tool-free adjustment, tool-free, meaning that all you do is you flip this little lever here and the seat will go up and down, making it something that if you need to make an adjustment for whatever reason, or someone else is going to try out the bike, you don't have to take out tools to adjust it. Now, the battery is securely found in this here, and it is lock protected, so as you press this button, if the lock is engaged, it is not going to open, so no one will be able to take out the battery. However, you can power it up without the battery. On the side here, you do have a protective plug that allows you to charge the bike and then just seal it up, simply by putting this little plug back into place, just like that, and pressing. And now it has the kind of water protection that you need to make sure that you don't get any damage to the charging circuits. Now the front fork is also a hydraulic fork. And matter of fact, all parts of this bike are hydraulic. The brakes are hydraulic. You have the shock in the back that you see right there. It's hydraulic. And then what you have here in the front fork, it also is hydraulic and it is adjustable. You notice that it also has worry-free fenders. These fenders are made out of like a polycarbonate material. You don't have to worry about them ever rusting. And it does have a front headlight. You'll get a better view again of the tire, how beefy this tire is, and also the included plastic that comes in place, protecting the tires as you receive it. Now, I really like how high the handlebar rides on this bike, and also the fact that it has some palm support right here, making it incredibly comfortable to ride. And this is an important piece because when you're riding a bike like this, especially one that gives you long distance, and let's not forget that this bike is going to give you 60 to 80 mile range, which is pretty spectacular. You want to be able to make sure that you have a very comfortable ride, and you need to get it based on how this supports. You do have, again, your controls right here for different aspects of pedal assist, as well as invoking the menu. You have a manual bell that you can enable here. It's not electric, so it is analog or manual. You have your brake system here, which is hydraulic as well. Now, this display here is one of the largest displays that I've seen in quite some time. Everything is easy to read. It is bright. The numbers are large, and it's going to give you information about power, speed, voltage. Everything you need to know about this bike is going to be found here. Now, on this side, on the right side, you do have your throttle, and the throttle is a twist throttle, not a thumb throttle. It is separated from the actual area that you'll rest your palm. One of the things I like and dislike, I like that it is embedded, but I also worry at times that if you don't set your bike to pedal assist 0, you may mistakenly grab the bike and actually twist, and your bike will zoom away, so make sure that you set it at 0. Here's your gear changer, 7-speed, and you'll be able to shift up and down using these buttons. So this is also something that's really easy to access. And what I like about this is that you don't really even have to look where you're going to be pushing these buttons. It just works. Now, you do have a rear marker that is really bright. It doesn't have turning signals, but it definitely has the ability to indicate that when you're braking, and this light will turn on when you have the headlight on. Now, for those of you who are curious on how bright this light is, as you can see here, this thing is bright. I will put my hand on camera so you can see how bright that is. It is bright. People are going to see you, no doubt about that. Hey guys, now in today's video, we're taking a look at the Lacros Cyclone. We're going to go over some of the specs through this riding experience. First, as you can see, that this is definitely one of those bikes that if you're looking for a bike that you don't have to really raise your leg really high to get on, well, this is going to be the bike for you because of the way this area here is constructed to allow you to side mount as easily as this is. Now, this bike, and we're going to switch to power for a second, is packed with power and range. We're talking about anywhere from 60 to 80 mile range, and that's pretty incredible, especially in the form factor that this bike is in. Now, you do have 20-inch worry-free tires that are all-terrain tires. So these tires are grippy, they're wide, and they're going to really give you a very comfortable ride. Speaking of ride, this bike also has suspension to spare. It has right here a shock absorber that really gives you a very comfortable ride. And especially if you're going to be using it on a street or if you're going to be using it on a sidewalk, you're going to have a delicious ride. The saddle is wide, and what I will say also is that you have a nice front hydraulic fork that can be adjusted to give you the type of stiffness or support that you'd like based on your riding preferences. We review a lot of bikes, and one of the things I really like about this bike is the fact that the handlebar is wide, but it's also high. So I don't find myself leaning forward like this. I actually find myself, in an upright position, which is very comfortable. And especially if you're going to be able to ride this, the long distances that we're talking about, that's important. Now, the bike does have a removable battery, which is going to give you the ability to stow it inside of the home, especially since I'm in Chicago. It gets cold. So if you put your bike in the garage, and let's face it, not everybody has a heated garage, you may want to keep your battery in your house, charge it separately. There's all these things that you may want to consider. So having a removable battery, especially for the winter, is a key for us in the Midwest. Now, it does have one of the largest displays that I've seen on a bike that is incredibly legible. So you can see it right here. The display is really nice, it's large, and I'm in direct sunlight. And while it's not color, I can see the speed clearly on this screen without any difficulty at all. Now, talking about the handlebar, a couple things we have going on. First of all, we have some really nice wrist supports here, so your palms are going to be well supported, and you won't have to worry about a lot of fatigue that you can have when riding a bike. And I can tell you, if you haven't ridden in a long time, over time when you're gripping really hard, it just feels like you start getting some wrist fatigue or palm fatigue. So having the support that we're talking about right here is important. So I love the fact that it has it and has this faux leather type material. All the controls are also really close by. So here I have the up, down for my pedal assist. I also have the power button. I have a bell, and it's relatively loud, right? It's a mechanical bell. You do have your hydraulic brakes, which if you've never experienced hydraulic brakes and just been using standard brakes, oh my God, it's a big difference when it comes to stopping. So love the fact that it has both front and rear hydraulic brakes. Now the pedal mode, you can see me pedaling right here, is also very, very comfortable. And you can adjust the saddle without any tools up or down to, again, your leg length. And this is going to be able to support someone anywhere from 5 to 6 feet tall, right? So this is really flexible. You'll notice also in the back it has a cargo area, as we discussed, that basically that area could be for groceries, it could be for a bag, whatever you'd want to have in the back, you'll be able to have that. But you can notice pedal is really, really effortless, and you could actually have pedal assist, which means as you're pedaling, the bike is also going to assist you with power. So I'm on pedal assist 1 and going around 8 miles an hour, and you can hear I'm not breathless at all. I can kick it into pedal assist 2, and now I can feel the speed. It's going a little bit faster, but the effort that I'm putting in remains the same. And that's the power of these electric bikes. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to see with the different pedal assist modes, like what's the top speed that we can get to. Now, on the side here, on the other side of the handlebar, you do have your 7-speed Shimano system where you can change your gears up and down. And right now it's in a light gear. But what I could do is I can just go ahead and go from gear to gear if I'd like to make things a little bit tougher, like I just did right here. And sometimes I like, operating on the toughest gear or the lightest gear
depending on if you're going with power or not. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way up to the one that requires the most pedaling, because I want to see how well the pedal assist is going to work. So now I'm around 10 miles an hour. I'm going to go ahead and turn on pedal assist 1, and some assistance should come in. It's light, it's not jerky. I'm starting to feel it help me, but it's not significant. Pedal assist level 2, right? And we'll see how well it's doing there. You'll notice that I'm around 12 miles an hour. Pedal assist 3, oh, I felt a little bump there. It's helping me. It's not as hard anymore. Pedal assist 4, oh, that I felt. Now we're going 15, 16 miles an hour, still with the same effort. That's pretty nice. Now the bike does have one additional pedal assist mode, and that is pedal assist mode 5. And in 5, woo, this is nice. We are going over 22 miles an hour, and my legs are flying at the hardest level. That's really nice. Now the bike does have several driving modes. Well, we talked about pedal assist 1 through 5. We also then have the ability to have a pure electric experience. So what we're going to do is see how fast we can get to top speed and what that top speed is in pure electric. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll call out the speed: 6, 9, 10, 13, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, 26, 27, 27, 27.7 miles an hour, 28, 28 miles an hour, 28.1. Now, one observation around our ride is that the actual bike itself does have a motorcycle-like front fork, and you can see that that thing is pretty beefy in front. And what I noticed is that the turning on this is a little bit stiffer than a traditional bike, given the size of the tires and then the type of front fork it has. So it's more motorcycle-like. We're going to do another top speed, and we're going to see with each one of these pedal assist modes, what's the top speed in pure electric. So right now we're in pedal assist 1, and we're hitting, wow, this is pretty impressive, 26, 27 miles an hour, even in pedal assist 1. 20, wow, it looks like it's going to try to hit 28 with pedal assist 1. That I did not expect. 28 miles an hour, pedal assist 1. That's impressive. I would have expected it to be a lot less. All right, so here what we're going to do is a speed test. We have a speed camera in front of us that's going to be able to tell us what the bike is clocking at. And one thing I'll highlight again is that this does have a walk mode where you can walk the bike and it's powered. But what we're going to do is we're going to go full throttle now to see what's the registered speed and then what the clock speed is. So right now, pedal assist 1, we're right now clocking at 23 miles an hour. We're going to see if we can hit 28 as we saw before. We're right now 26 and it's clocking 26. 25, it's fine. And I'm at 26.7 because I'm coming upwind. But one of the things I will say is that it seems to be very true to speed. So the speed I'm seeing on camera is the same speed I'm seeing on the clock, and that is pretty impressive. So another notable feature about this bike that we've been observing during our ride is that the pedal assist mode really only impacts pedal assist. I've seen other bikes where, depending on the level 1, 2, 3, or 4, the maximum electric speed is impacted. This bike, however, doesn't really matter what your pedal assist mode is. It's always going to give you top speed, which we've been able to see a top speed of 28.6 miles an hour. And we saw in our speed test with the clock that it is pretty close. It's not a mile off like we've seen with other bikes. So that's also something pretty impressive with this one, that it's true to speed. So as we're wrapping up this ride review, what are my thoughts about this bike, the Lacros Cyclone? This is a bike, right? So if you're looking for a bike that is very comfortable to ride in bumpy terrain, all terrain, sand, stone, pavement, urban settings, non-urban settings, what you can expect is to have a very, very comfortable ride. And that's definitely what I'm seeing right here. Very comfortable ride. I do like that shock absorber that I have underneath my saddle. I didn't expect it to perform this well because I've seen it typically in the back of the saddle, not in the front. And I'm going through this really bumpy terrain and there's no jitter in my speed. It's really doing a nice job of absorbing the impact. So I also like that you don't have to raise your leg to get on. So it's a side-mounted type style bike. And again, those worry-free tires, the width of the tires, 4-inch by 20, gives you a really, I would say, certain ride. You're able to turn, go left when you want to go left, go right when you want to go right.
So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.